Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Hello again. Here we are back for part 2.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're listening to this and want to go back to part 1 for episode 82, we're talking about why self-care is so hard, part 2.
Yes.
After I cut us off very abruptly, you were going to keep going.
It was good because I lost track of time that
I know. It's so easy to have these conversations and we're talking about why it's so hard. All right, I'm going to dive into highs and lows because I think you went first last time.
Yes.
Low for me, allergies. It's springtime, like flowers, pollen, wind, change in season. And I was out in the garden a lot on the weekend. And yeah, I just really got all the sinus stuff happening. So yeah, just a bit like, ugh, you know how it's just right there.
Yeah.
You know it well.
Very.
And high for me is I just had quite a well-known Australian writer who's got some big experience and wisdom, and I respect him very much. He commented on one of my writing articles, which was pretty extraordinary, and good comments, so positive comments. So that's really pretty amazing to connect in that way through writing.
So cool.
And it's not always about the numbers, but, you know, he's been doing this for 10 plus years now. So he certainly has taught me a lot through the time. And it's, a stepping stone, I think. So
yeah,
pretty
it's
excited.
so with someone that you look up to,
admire, yeah,
that they reach out to you. It's like, who am I?
Yeah, very, very cool. So
awesome! Oh, I'm so happy for you, Linda. That's great.
Little steps.
Yeah.
What about you? Highs, lows?
Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with my low being sleep. It's just still sleep. It's like, we got a few good nights where like wake ups only happen at like 4:30 and not 2:30, and then all of a sudden it was back to like, nope, we're gonna wake up at 2:30. So,
oh my gosh,
I'm still tired. But we were told we weren't gonna sleep again until ever after having kids. There was no sleeping ever again. No, pretty much we're stuffed. Yeah. I thought I had a good year run, and now it's gone. So that hope is like dying. It's just dwindling. We'll get there one day, possibly. And my high is that we took Declan bowling the other day, and it was so much fun. And half the reason why he wants to go bowling is because there's an arcade at the bowling alley, and he'd rather just play the games than bowl. And of course, speaking of the devil, here he comes.
Are we going bowling now?
Yeah. You did go bowling.
And I played some games, and there was a roller game with the chicken, and I got squished, and there was something trains on the road, and I got squished.
Yeah, I got squished. So I had taught him I gave him a few pointers, and it was so fantastic because he tried so hard to just keep doing them. So one of the bowling balls had a double side, so it was the same thumb hole, but 2 different sides for the finger holes for 2 different sized fingers. So it was they're small and extra small.
I
know. So I told him, look for the X. That's the side you want for extra small. And then I taught him how to hold the ball. So I was like, okay, you do your I love you sign with your fingers. And then you put the fingers in the holes there and leave the I love you out. And so he learned how to do that. And it was just so cute.
Oh my
Every time when he
gosh.
would put his hand
Mommy,
on the ball, he had to look at his hand first with the I love you. And then he tried to figure out how he was supposed to put it in there again.
mommy,
Oh my
It was
gosh.
the best thing to watch him try to
Oh.
try so hard to be good at it.
mommy.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. We have bowling on our list of things to do. And the big kids actually have been asking a fair bit if they can go. And yeah, we're pretty much almost packed out now till Christmas. So it's going to have to wait until the summer holidays, I think, which will be good because I think it's probably a place will be fairly cool and inside when it's boiling hot. We don't have to stand out in the sun. We're going to leave it till January, February, I reckon.
Oh,
And enjoy it from there.
it's a good winter thing.
That's a good
Yeah. I'm not sure how the 1-year-old would go as well, or 2. She'll be 2 by then, but I'm not sure how she would go with. You just want to chase the balls down the down the lane. I reckon that's what I can imagine.
Well,
She would do.
they have like half price arcade games on Wednesdays, and that's our date night. And he has such a problem still with the babysitter, so we have to bribe him with things now to go do with the babysitter. So now he can go with the babysitter and go play arcade games at the bowling alley for half price.
Because
Awesome. Done. As long as your date night isn't to go bowling. That's the main thing. Because that would sort of defeat the purpose if he turned up there in the middle of your date night. So anyway, while Jill handles as much as she can with breakfast time and all of the noise of a 4-year-old.
There's a lot of bribery happening right now, so we'll see. You know, this is why my self-care is so hard.
Yeah. Constant interruptions.
Well, so back to that conversation.
I actually want to start with this one, which I think is a good point to make. So does social media, or even something like our podcast in a way, does social media make it look easier than it actually is? Like, you know, they only show the actual self-care activity itself and not all of the lead up and the coordination and the telling someone to just leave me alone and please just go away in the nicest possible way.
Because we definitely mute that part on this.
Oh, yes. Yes. You can see Jill behind the scenes right now.
Yeah.
She's like,
I think there's been a shift when you get on the right side of social media on who's showing what parts of that. Yes, there's always the Instagram perfect posts. Everyone shows, you know, the perfect picture. But I do think that there is some transparency also trying to be put out there about the heart that goes into that picture perfect post. Like, you know, people are showing the other side of the counter that all the other crap is loaded up on, that they had to move out of the way to get that one little spot on their kitchen counter picture perfect for that post. Or all the, you know, like when our kids clean the room and they stuff all of their stuff in the closet and it's like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. And then you open the door and it all comes out. Like,
Mommy,
I think they are being shown. I just don't know if we're all getting to see it. And then I think there's still backlash towards those people who are sharing the hard part out loud.
Yep.
And it stinks. It really stinks that that's even a thing. I think that makes us feel like it's so much harder on ourselves because
Mommy, watch
we'll
this.
get some kind of repercussion for
Watch this.
being
Mommy.
for finding it hard.
Yeah. And I think while there is a bit of a shift and a bit more being seen, how could you possibly actually show all of the parts that go into some self-care? Because sometimes it's planned for weeks or months. Like you think about your retreat, right? that was something that was planned for a long time. There was so much coordination that had to happen, and you had to make sure that he had somewhere to go and then pack his bag and then get him there and then take him to the car. Like, there's actually so much. And because a lot of social media, especially something like Instagram, is like, we're doing a 45-minute conversation here, which is a little bit more in depth. But something like Instagram, which is sort of a 5-10 second grab sometimes.
Yeah.
How can you possibly show it all in that amount of time?
Right.
Why
And
would
how do
you
you
show the worst bits?
How do you show decision making? Like, how do you show your thought processes and the like, I don't even want to look at myself in the mirror when I'm trying to figure these things out, because I know my face is all scrunched and I'm like, nobody wants to see a picture of me just doing this all the time, like just with my hands to my head and not really sure what's going on.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's yeah, we do want people to get to the self-care, so we're concentrating on the self-care, so we're showing the self-care,
but we're not showing what it takes to get to the self-care.
It doesn't show us that it's hard or easy, really. Yeah. But the general picture, I think, leans to more the easy side than the hard side.
Mm-hmm.
In general. Does that set us up for disappointment as well?
Does it set us up for disappointment or having higher expectations? Like, I did all this work to set everybody else up so I could go take care of myself, and it didn't do anything, or I didn't get what I wanted out of it. And we set ourselves up with these expectations that we have to feel better instantly, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So is it an instant gratification and not a slow roll of like, oh, I feel at least less of something? It may not be all that better, but I feel less of the pressure. Maybe that's all it is. And are we able to see the different kinds of benefits that are coming out of it? So maybe we do set ourselves up for disappointment because we're not seeing the full picture of what we're getting out of that self-care.
Yeah. True. And again, the expectations, when it comes to the expectation side of things, like, all of your worries are not going to be cleared up in a 5-minute walk back from school.
Yeah.
do you then try and cram all of the thoughts into 5 minutes and then become just like,
I don't think, no, like, the whole point of my walk is to not have thoughts and to be present with each step I take instead, and like feeling the air on my hands and my face, and like just taking everything else around me in and not being in my own head. And that allows me then to come back home and then get right to work on what are those things that are in my way for my day. Yep.
Plus you've been moving. It's that. Yeah.
That's a practice in itself. I don't know how I'm doing that one where I don't have any thoughts while I'm walking. I'm just like, ooh, look at that leaf falling from the tree or something. Like, never thought that would be me. I am the person that sits and mulls in my own head all day, every day.
There's so much in my head. A quick story. I actually bumped into someone that I went to high school with today at the pre-kinder, who I think must have just moved in or close by, and I remembered her name, and we've literally had no contact or not even talked to each other for probably 25 years, more, 30 years, and still remember the name. And I'm like, why is that information in my head? All the things, why do I need that? Oh, that's crazy. So Yes, I seem to remember names easier. Sometimes some other people do, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think, our thoughts let us stew on things and tell us lies. Well, it's our feelings that tell us lies, but I think our thoughts can be so wrapped up in the what if part of stuff that it ends up convincing us to not do things. Because I do think that we can think stuff is harder than it actually will be just to do it.
100%. Yeah. And then the time we spend thinking about it being harder, we actually could have just done it as well. The actual self-care's moment has come and gone, and then we're still thinking that it was so hard, and why was it so hard, and why didn't it happen? And well, it's like we talked about in the last episode with trying to get a kid out the door to school. You can sit there and keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, but at the end of the day, or the end of the morning, he just actually needs to go to school. Like that's all that actually needs to happen. And so there's lots of thoughts. So I wanted to circle back to something I heard you just say. If we're waiting for sort of that what if, or thinking about the what if, do we have to wait for it to be easy, or wait for the right time, or anything like that in order to get over the feeling of self-care being so hard? Like, is there ever going to be a right time where it's easy, or a right time when you don't have a 4-year-old in the background doing all the things at once when you're trying to record? She's just like, oh, help me now.
This, I don't know, Linda. This is what's in my head right now is music playing from my phone that I can't hear over. And it never was so loud. Oh my God. Rein me in again. I am so sorry.
I was just talking about why do we wait for it to be the right time?
Yes.
And the what if, sort of scenario and that sort of thing. So, all right, you back? That was so hard.
It really was. Oh my God.
Real life example.
Waiting for the right time. Well, it's always I guess this is going to be probably based off of your Monday from last time with you had this plan for getting ready for school time with all the kids. It got messed up because needs were needing to be met, which then delayed everything into your day with just 2 versus all 4. So the older kids are away at school. That means you get to have a little bit more flexibility because you can wrangle the younger 2 to do something while you do the things you need to do. So I have my time. Declan goes to school. I have my block of time. Mondays are also my day to just get like things done around the house. Like it's an errand day, or it's for me, it's Mama Outspoken day. I don't really do a whole lot with my sexy business team on Mondays. But when I'm starting to feel that pushback from the morning where things aren't getting done the way that they need to, then that's why I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a better time because I'm not going to take up a specific block that I had set for this. But what if I did? What if I just said, we'll just work on what I should have been working on tomorrow because it's going to be a priority in getting some self-care done today. I have an hour block of white space that I was leaving open today for Mama Outspoken. What if I did self-care? I need it. I had a meltdown yesterday. I have not had the time to really do anything today so far. And I have a full morning after we're done recording. I go into a meeting, then school block, and then 2 more meetings. And then I finally get a break. So what if I just take the break and don't do it during this block that I do have dedicated alone time?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I going to wait for Friday when I have Declan home from school, nothing on my calendar, and still have to figure out what to do with him in order to get some kind of self-care in there?
And exhausted.
Yeah. After a full week. So, yeah. Why do I wait for an open in my calendar like that?
Mm-hmm. And look, sometimes I realize there are logistics to coordinate and to organize. Sometimes I realize you are at such a point where you're like, me trying to calm down in 5 minutes right now is literally like trying to ask a fish to climb a tree, you know, like it just not quite possible. So there are all sorts of reasons why that might happen.
And that just sparks like, why don't we have someone help us through a tantrum? Like, our kids get us to help them through a tantrum. Who's helping me through a tantrum?
I know. It's all me.
Who's telling me to go do my self-care because I need to just go tantrum someplace else by myself.
Yeah. I'll tell you to do that. I'll be your person.
Thanks.
Oh. Yeah,
maybe that's what
so
we
true.
need.
Yes. Look, if you're at
that's how we mother the mother. You know, if we're taking care of our kids in that same way that, you know, we don't know how to regulate ourselves half the time, so we need moms too. Maybe they're our friends and not our actual mothers. So.
Or a bit of both, you know. Like, just get to school and walk to school, please. We can talk about it later. Oh dear. So if you are out there and finding it really hard to do self-care, we get it. You are not alone. You are not insane or crazy. Like we said, 83 episodes in and it's still hard.
It looks easy on the outside sometimes, but
yeah. And if you have got some self-care in by listening to this episode or along the way today, congratulations to you. Just keep up the good work.
Yes, for sure. Well, we hope you can let us know what you're doing too, because we can all use a little help in different things. But Linda, I guess until next week.
We hope you can unstuck your muck. Bye.
Bye.